Yo, I'm back. I'm still, unfortunately, a bit ill, but I wanted to record this. I wanted to make a video talking about what are meta-defining qualities that characters can have, and what makes basically just what makes a meta character, or what qualities make a strong character. You get the point, right? I kind of got inspired to make this from my Venom video because. Thank you to all the people that watched the video. There's like over 100 comments on it, and almost 4K views, which is really cool to see. I love when people are interacting with in the comment section. There's two sides to everything, so some people, unironically, a lot of people were on my side that the character's kind of just useless. But, not a lot, but some people as well that were, oh, you gotta give him more time, it's too early. One dude posted my video on Twitter and said I was making his blood boil and I'm spreading misinformation or something. Right? I love seeing, I even went and retweeted the post. I love seeing all the comments. So, but yeah, that kind of inspired me because I don't think people understand what I meant when I said he just doesn't fit the meta. One of the first things I'm gonna express that I did last video as well. I didn't say this part. This game is very violent. And the meta is very violent as well. And it's pretty strict on what a character can have to be very strong and survive at the top and high levels in this game. And LK made a tier list, and one of the tiers he had was bracket ruiners, right? And it was like bracket ruiners winning in like top 8 characters, right? Stuff like that. Yes, there are bracket ruiners, and just because your character isn't in the top and high tiers, that does not mean that they will just always lose. They can win. Right? And I'm more talking about the characters that you're expected to see at that top level, right? Or I guess higher top level, higher/top level, yeah. Your character, and I've said this before last video, your character can have good strengths. You can think that they're very strong. You can think that their flaws are manageable to play around, but in this game, it is violent, and it could be good in another version of the game. But unfortunately, with the version the game is right now, there's a lot of characters that kind of just chimp you out with stupid metered options and high explosive damage that it's like, you have to be able to stand your ground. Now, let's get into the first thing I was going to say, mainly addressing like this video overall. Your character has to have either high damage, explosive damage, or good offense. One or the other. Both checkboxes cannot be left blank. They have to have one or the other. I think that is extremely important. This game, and maybe I'll make a video in the future about Venom and like wall break, but this game there's so much damage in this game. If you're able to dish out damage, then your character should be fine. But if it's just damage is all they do, it's fine, but there's just other boxes that need to be checked. But two most important things, what I'm trying to say is both boxes cannot be left unchecked. Right? There's also then you have things like consistency and defense and this and that, right? Some characters are just more inconsistent than others. And there's other areas that character can be strong. It's just areas like that are pretty important to have. This game, obviously, there is a wall break system. As we all know, if you've even played the game, then you know I don't need to talk about the wall break for too long, but positive bonus, meter always being a thing with characters. You gotta remember, one of the best traits to have in a character is high HP, and that is something that the top and high tiers seem to all have. Characters like Gold Lewis, Anji, Johnny, Leo, Pot, right? A lot of people think Slayer, Sin, a lot of people think him, Soul. Like, it goes on and on. These characters that you see in those top and high tiers, they all share some similar things, right? Both, at least one of the boxes is checked is on if they have explosive damage or good offense. They're consistent, right? Being able to confirm, like, they're able to stand their ground in this game that is just so much just heavily in risk reward. Having high HP is just, you get hit, you're able to take more hits, you farm meter, you farm burst, right? It's one of the issues I mentioned with Venom. He doesn't do enough damage. His mix-ups just build burst because he's doing so little damage. He's just building you meter. This doesn't do any damage. He's just building your resources back again, right? And I guess people think characters like Happy Chaos is the same case. Obviously, Happy Chaos is on the higher or top tier, wherever you think he is, for different reasons. I know some people out there think he could be mid, which is absurd to me. But I'll entertain it. Let's just say he's mid for the sake, because it fits the agenda that he cannot keep up with the risk reward, the damage in this game, and right, whatever, sure. Being able to use meter well is so important, especially after wall break. If you put a character in a situation where once you get this wall break, the game feels over, then it's super strong, right? But there comes things with that. Using meter well is the first thing. Characters like Venom use meter just poorly, right? Having characters like Sin use meter well, right? There's different characters that use meter well, like install character, or not install, but like, yeah, I guess install characters are characters that are able to recycle their resources, stuff like that. Characters that are just meter dependent to run their stuff, whether it's to stall, like I mentioned, or whatever. And then obviously like wall break, safe jump. But yeah, having a safe jump is huge. Being able to safe jump and, you know, continue your offense post wall break is something huge. Not having to gamble on the opponent's wake up is something very, very big. A lot of characters in this game are like, can safe jump 10. So like Sin, Happy Chaos, for example. But if you can't safe jump 9 or 10, at least one, then it's it's really, really unfortunate. And if you can't, and if you're a character that doesn't safe jump like Zato, or I guess even sometimes like Happy Chaos, who can safe jump 10, but can't safe jump 9, you have something like a gun to, you know, do your meaty for you, or Eddie to do your meaty for you if you're Zato, right? Or Asuka, Cube, whatever, right? But if you have nothing, yo, GG's. Like, that's terrible. Venom does not have a 9 or 10 frame safe jump, and he uses meter poorly. Not being able to abuse wall break for what it is, with how easy it is to access in this game, is very, very sad. Because then you're just essentially healing the opponent, especially if your offense is bad too. I guess then comes the conversation of defense. And defense is important, but I feel like it's most important at that top level. I think at the high level, you're able to get away with some things. Like I mentioned before, a lot of characters feel like they're just getting healed the whole time. And then from there, yeah, you get the point. They just steamroll, right? They Oonga Booga, they chip you out, and then just roll their face, and then they just win, right? It really makes you wonder in this game, due to it being so violent. It's like, how can a character like Gold Lewis and a character like Venom or like Dizzy exist in the same game together? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Obviously, DPs are good, right? Very, 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 very good. And I've already talked about HP. If you've seen my tier list before, the reason why lower HP characters like Chip and Melia, why their kit may be A or S tier, I am not a believer in low HP in this game. Dude, it is just not worth it. But there are some goats out there like Marvello, for example, that are able to make it work for the most part. But even then, he still has his struggles, right? No one's perfect, and this game's hard. This game's hard to be very consistent in. It's really hard. But yeah, overall, I think the main point is this game is violent, and you kind of need to have a character that can stand their ground and be able to dish back the damage that they've taken. You know, a lot of times when you play, I think the most common times that a player enters that mindset of, oh, I lost, is when they play a character that just isn't very good and get hit by a character that is so explosive, and they're not able to deal the damage back because their best confirm is something like this and does 40 damage. Right? Being able to make your opponent care for their mistakes is something huge in this game, and if your character just can't do that, then the damage is just too high. There's too many characters in this game currently that just have everything, right? The power level is closer than it's ever been from the high tiers to the top tiers. So the power level in the game is just very high. Like the average power level is just very high. So it feels like some characters just have everything. They have high HP, they have good offense, they have explosive damage, they're consistent, they abuse meter well, easy access to positive, like stuff like that. Yeah, using meter well is just so important. People don't realize how important that is for doing stupid metered options like BRC or whatever the character may do, whether it's like, you get the point. That's kind of it for me. Thank you everyone for watching. And until next time, thank you.